If taste is king, just how close are alternative proteins to meeting the taste challenge of beef? Hello and welcome to the Sustainable Nutrition Exchange with Kerry. I'm Damien McLaughlin and we're joined this time by Alison Rabschnuk from Kerry Group. Alison, beef sets a high bar for the consumer in terms of taste and nutrition. How close are we to plant-based protein meeting this bar that the consumer sets for beef?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what's interesting is that plant-based products, especially mimics of meat like burgers, have been on the market for decades now. And it's really only the last 10 years or so that companies have started to focus on mimicking meat exactly like the real thing. And the reason they're doing this is because the focus is no longer on the very small portion of the population that is vegan and vegetarian, which only makes up, at least in the United States, around 10% or less of the population. The focus now is on omnivores and flexitarians, people who are still going to eat animal products, but maybe just want to swap out a meal here or there. So that's why the bar was really high for these companies to create products that really mimic the full organoleptic experience of eating meat. So that means creating products that taste like real meat, they cook like real meat, they smell like real meat, they look like real meat. It's early days though. So some of the companies have already actually met that bar, but still have a lot of runway to improve their products from a nutritional perspective. So yes, the protein level could maybe be higher, although in some cases it's on par with the products they're replacing. Yes, the sodium could potentially be lower. And again, companies are using different ingredients to help them do that. And I think going forward, a big focus is going to be on micronutrients. So while most of the companies have been focusing on the macronutrients, making sure that the protein levels are high and making sure that the carbs potentially are low, making potentially gluten-free versions or soy-free versions, there has been less attention paid to the micronutrient portion of the product development. And I do think that's where a lot of innovation is going to come into play here. I think it's also important to remember that these products and companies, some of them haven't been around longer than 5 or 10 years. It's still really a young industry. A lot of food scientists are only recently learning how to work with plant proteins and other ingredients in this sector. So I see endless potential innovation in this category to really make these products taste better, perform better, and are actually more nutritious than animal meat.
One of the issues around sustainable nutrition is the capacity of consumers to afford a nutritious diet. Protein is an expensive part of the consumer's diet. Does alternative proteins, do plant-based proteins offers the opportunity to provide a protein source to people who have lower incomes in whatever part of the world they live?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, protein from a plant source can be something as simple as a chickpea, right? So these are whole grain ingredients that are already being used in cultures of all socioeconomic levels across the world. So I think what we're specifically talking about today are these meat alternative products, right? And yes, they today are absolutely sold at a price premium to animal meat. I think in some cases they're probably as low as about a 25% premium, and then as high as maybe a 200 or 300% premium. So will those prices come down? Absolutely. Most of the companies making these products are startups. And even the ones that have moved beyond that are still in their infancy, right? They're still not producing enough product to really create those economies of scale and take advantage of those economies of scale that large production processes will eventually engender. So I think alternative proteins are absolutely a solution to feed a global and growing population. You know, seeing as how we're going to have, it's estimated 10 billion people on Earth by 2050, we're going to need every tool in our toolbox in order to feed that growing population. And alternative proteins are absolutely a great way to do that, whether it's through plants, whether it's through fungi, or whether it's through the future innovation of cultivated meat.
One of the challenges, Alison, of plant-based protein and alternative proteins is the ingredients on the side of the packet. some of the ingredients are a bit scary. How is Kerry helping manufacturers to create recognizable ingredients on the side of the packet, the side of the box?
So that's a good question. Our research does find that many consumers who are buying products and are interested in the plant-based category are looking for clean label products. And clean label means different things to different people. In some cases, it means a short ingredient declaration. In others, it means just recognizable ingredients. So Kerry is able to work with its customers to really help do both of those things. So we work with vegan meat flavors that can be labeled as natural flavors, which is a real, obviously, clean label. We're also, from an innovation perspective, are working towards coming up with replacements for some of these longer sounding terms, like methacellulose, for example. So it's very important to us to work with our customers to eventually help make products that are going to be appealing to consumers and help encourage repeat purchases. And so I think really focusing on natural flavors and clean labels is one way that Kerry is doing that.
The category sounds a lot more exciting now than it did when we started this interview. Could you lay out for us the trajectory of plant protein, maybe as Kerry sees it or as you see it, over the next 10 years?
Yeah, definitely. So, plant protein is where it's at today, right? You can find these products quite extensively on supermarket shelves all over the world. You're finding them more and more in food service environments. In the US, you're finding plant protein ingredients on most, I would say, fast food menus these days with a burger or chicken nuggets, and we'll see more of that over the next couple years. So I think what's coming next are different ways of producing protein. So there are other technologies. One's called fermentation, which can be used to, for example, produce a chicken breast or a steak using mycelium, which is the root structure of a mushroom. This is a really sustainable, very nutritious product that, again, uses very few inputs and has the functionality of real meat. Another way, or another technology I think that we'll see in the future is what's called cultivated meat. And that we're looking at probably 10 to 15 years before we see those products in any kind of real way on supermarket shelves. However, it actually is being sold currently in Singapore. So this is where they make real animal cells without the animal. So I think the biggest challenge with some of these newer technologies like fermentation and cultured meat is really in the scale up. These companies worldwide are getting a lot of attention. They're getting a lot of investment dollars. And I would say the science has actually been proven to work. It's, again, just a matter of how you scale up and how you scale up in a way that is efficient.
It's a very exciting development in our industry. What's exciting about it is that it seems to be moving us towards new eating experiences, maybe for the first time since the Second World War. How will eating change as a result of plant protein and alternative proteins?
I think it's exciting because it's really going to expand our palates and it's going to expand the nutritional possibilities for all of us, right? So we've been very traditionally focused on getting our protein from animals and getting our protein from plants. But moving forward, we're going to have a range of options. And I think really the way to think about the future is that we won't be eating just one kind of product. It won't be just animal meat. It won't be just plants. There's going to be a lot of hybrid products that are out there. So even cultured meat, for example, when those products initially come to market, most of the companies are saying that they will be a combination of plant protein and the cultured cells. And I think the same thing is going to be the case, and we're already seeing that today with animal meat and plant protein, right? We have these hybrid products on the market, hybrid burgers. Some of them are mushroom based, some of them are soy based. So I do think this is going to just open up a really interesting area for culinary professionals to create products using a much bigger toolbox than they've had at their disposal from the past.
We're starting this already. I mean, many of the top chefs are experimenting with non-animal proteins and have been for some time. which creates a lot of excitement in the market as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited, as were a lot of other people, to learn about 11 Madison Park, which is a Michelin-starred restaurant in New York, that decided in June to transition to a 100% plant-based menu. So it took a lot of people by surprise. And last I heard, they have 15,000 people on their wait list. So I do think consumers are really open to and eager to try new things.
Yeah. It seems like the demand is there, the supply is coming on stream, and there's a lot of exciting times ahead for plant-based protein. Alison, thanks for sharing such tremendously interesting and exciting insights with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Damien. This was fun.